This brother here has done a lot of amazing things.
It just makes me so proud.
For that, she's a maharani.
This is a moment for Bangra.
Cans really believed he was Jay Sean at one.
I even had the hairstyle.
I'm not surprised, bro. I mean, like you and Jay.
Alright, let's not go there. Yes, people, it's your boy, it's DJ Limelight Kan D Man, and we're here celebrating 20 years of BBC Asian Network. And we're talking music today, Limes.
That's right, man. Asian Network at 20 years old. You know what? I'm only 19. Imagine that. I was only 1 year old when Asian Network started. Do you get me? It's a long, long time ago. And we've got some real special guests with us. I mean, we're talking Bobby Friction. We've got Bambi, you know, family to us as well. And Panjabi MC, the legend. Do you get me? We've got a lot of weight in this building today. You know what I'm saying?
It's waiting. First of all, how's it going, guys? How are you?
Good.
Great.
We were together at a festival a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
For the first time in ages. This man's so nice, man. Just hands me a piece of vinyl, his latest single, and goes, "It's my last one, bro." And he signed it. And I was like a fanboy.
Well, yeah, I mean, the old vinyls, not many people really use them anymore. So I've got a few left. So I thought, you know, they all got to go to a good home, really. Got to give the last ones out to the good home. Because I remember throwing them out to crowds, and then a couple of ones were like just on the floor. You know, and I thought, you know what, people don't know what they are. They think they're frisbees.
But you know what? The whole vinyl conversation brings up a good starting point. 2002, I want to talk about. And you know, vinyls was a big part of your come up in the music game. I always tell people Panjabi MC, in my opinion, had the biggest South Asian record ever. Forget Bollywood, forget any of that.
Yeah.
Just the biggest record ever.
That's not even a point of contention, right? That's not even an argument. Anyone who doesn't recognise that doesn't know what they're talking about.
I was in Marbella recently, and it was a massive club, and I heard his track, and I was like, yay! And everyone's looking at me like.
And then the song gets even bigger. Jay-Z jumps on it. That was a moment.
Now, with a little bit of hindsight, I can understand that Jay-Z was listening to Bangra for about 4 years, you know, at least. Because obviously Big Pimpin' came in 99, you know.
We doing big pimpin', we spending cheese. Check 'em out now. Big pimpin' on BLADs. We doing big.
I actually missed his phone call, you know. He phoned me from the lab. And
You never pick up your phone, bro.
this is the thing, I'm thinking in America I might get like charged for this, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? I thought, you know, could have done it on the landline, you know. But anyway, I didn't know it was him, did I? Anyway, so he left an answering message for me, and he just said, yeah, check this out. And it was the actual verse, the first verse.
As soon as the beat drop, we got the streets locked overseas. A Punjabi MC in the rock. I came to see the mommies in the spot. On the count of 3, drop your body like it's hot.
Played it to a couple of people, and they were like, straight away we were like, yo, this is like a moment for Bangra.
And then the highlight for me, after all these years, Commonwealth Games.
Exactly.
You know, Birmingham,
Exactly.
West Midlands, and you had such a moment then. It really felt like the track had come full circle.
Yeah. I mean, it's good because obviously Birmingham, you know, it's our town as well. You know, I know that you're actually from Birmingham. When I say that to someone from Birmingham, it feels like such a, what are you on about? You're not from Birmingham, but so.
West Mids, bro.
Yeah. Well, Coventry's part of kind of Birmingham in that way, you know, and to be like UB40 alongside people like that, you know, who are known for Birmingham, I felt really bigged up for that, definitely.
It was a legendary moment, man.
Yeah.
Now, Bobby, you as a DJ, let's talk about Asian Garage, because that day was like a whole moment. And some of those records, I feel like in 2022 are just being reborn all over again. Like take Punjabi hit squads, Hi for instance.
When the Desi / Bhangra Garage came through, for me, it wasn't just about the music, it was also about the North really representing, because honestly, the centre of that Bhangra Garage scene, for once, you know, it was always, until then, a fight between Southall and Handsworth, London and Birmingham, and, you know, labels like Untouchables started releasing Mets and Tricks, Gubby Sandhu, all those kinds of people, and obviously RDB, who are responsible for all of that.
This goes out to the girls in the front, to the back, to the middle, to the left, to the right. We're gonna take you on a bad boy flight. Mess and Tricks on the mic tonight.
I remember hearing those tunes in London and it kind of going off, and then doing a gig in Manchester and people absolutely losing their minds. So for me, yes, it was big at the time, but I think we also need to recognise that Manchester, you know, Preston, Dewsbury, all those areas, they really stood up tall and proud at that time. They really were the centre of a lot of that Bhangra stuff and the garage stuff.
Definitely. I wanna touch on another game changer, and I think we all definitely have been influenced by this movement here. Is Rishi Rich project.
Because, you know, Dance With You wasn't just a great tune, it was Rishi updating the sound and really going, the 21st century is here. It was Juggy coming in and repping that pure Desi sound, the Bhangra sound, and then Jay's voice. You got to remember, for us, we'd only grown up with people saying, I can sing, I'm gonna sing Bhangra, I'm gonna sing a bit of Hindi stuff. And Jay comes through and he's beatboxing, he's singing, he's kind of rapping. I remember me and Nahal literally, this is gonna kick off.
And when we're talking about Jay Sean, you know, another person I want to mention is Raghav as well, because he came up around the same era, and that whole sampling thing back then was just crazy, man. So we gotta give Raghav his flowers as well, man.
I just can't wait till you're freaking me frequently, baby, cause I can't get enough.
I think it's just like popping off again on Reels, like his old stuff, that doing remixes and stuff, which is good to see after so long.
100%, and the influence they had, like, I remember being a young boy and just remembering the influence, like Jay Sean even, you know.
Cans really believed he was Jay Sean at one.
I even had the hairstyle.
I'm not surprised, bro. I mean, like you and Jay.
He even had the vocals.
Alright, let's not go there. They have the vocals.
Got my eyes on you. Won't you bring that back to me? Got my eyes on you. You know where I'm gonna be.
I just remember the impact, you know, just walking around London and just seeing everyone with that spiky hairstyle.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was like the first time kids that look like us and talk like us, seeing them on the TV screen.
Jay was literally constantly, my real name's Parmajit Singh Juti and all this, you know, he wore his brownness on his sleeve, even though he was ostensibly an R&B artist.
Ride it from head to toe. Ride it, teach my soul. Ride it.
He was the one who sang in R&B English, and he wasn't shy to do that. And so for me, I come from that. Like before, you know, getting to the Bhangra scene, I trained in gospel, R&B, soul. So for me, it was like, that's my inspiration. Like if he can do it, I can do it. So that was a big thing for me.
Even I feel like later on down the line, signing to Cash Money and kicking off down the music video with Ride It. It's a clear statement to say that we're here now and this is who I am and this is what I'm about.
Baby, are you down?
Female brown representation, it may not have been a female brown singer, but he had Basha Basu in his video. And even then, it's like, this is a mainstream single, but here's a brown beauty, he's repping, he's not hiding it.
Speaking of brown females that represent it, have done amazing things. I want to move on to 2005 with MIA.
I was listening to her today, actually.
Oh,
I love her.
London, quieten down, I need to make a sound. New York, quieten down, I need to make a sound.
When it comes to MIA, I just feel like there's no box, there's nothing there. Like it's just her, and whatever she wants to do, she does it, and she's achieved great things. Looking at 2005, she released an album called Arula, which was dope.
Definitely, in terms of brown female representation, when I first discovered MIA, and I was like, whoa, this is sick. I've never seen a brown girl on mainstream music, you know, channels.
Yeah.
Well, it was her, but I remember the first one I ever saw was Nadia Ali with that song Rapture, which I love. But that was it. That's all I've seen. With MIA, it's like she kept going and going, and she came out with all these things, and you know, featuring on Future and Travis Scott's new song as well. That's like a big, big thing.
A lot I'm gonna spend. Tell me when I beam you to pull up, you gon' shoot out while I spin.
Tripping like I'm trigger happy soul fish.
And then obviously, you know, signing with Rock Nation. Again, you know, we don't need that validation, but it's nice to see, you know what I mean? Seeing one of our own standing next to the likes of Jay-Z, and then Beyonce's coming out to see her perform as well. What's that been like for you, Bobby? Because I know she's an artist that you've championed proudly?
First of all, she's the punk princess. No sellout, you know what I mean? She's almost like, you know, Johnny Rotten, Sid Vicious, born in Hounslow. She was from the beginning, I'm doing it my way. I'm Sri Lankan, I'm not on this Desi level, I'm on this punk level, this electronic level. Then she released Kala, and that album was 90% Desi and South Asian. She covered a Buck Billeri track.
Yeah.
There was Tamil samples, there was North Indian samples, Pakistani samples, Paper Planes was on it.
I fly like paper, get high like planes. If you catch me at the border, I got visas in my name. If you come around here, I'll make them all day. I get one down in a second if you wait.
She didn't do the Desi thing before, but now she's out Desi'd all of us, you know? And that Kala album, which was fully South Asian, it's one of the best British Asian albums of the last 20 years. She is no sellout. She's done it on her own terms. She's not listened to anyone. And for that, she's a maharani.
Yeah.
Hounslow girl as well, man.
Yeah, big up Hounslow every time.
Crazy.
Let us Hounslow people have that.
Crazy, crazy. We want to move on to 2009. We want to fast track a little bit, but before we do, I think we have to give a real special mention to Riz Ahmed.
Yep.
At that point, you know, 9/11 blues. I remember catching it on MySpace.
What can I do? I got the post 9/11 blues on the telly, nothing but the post 9/11 news. War, Iraq, suicide bombs. Stop hogging the limelight and make some room for my songs.
It was so important that track needed to get played on radio. It was unbelievable. Everything that track was about was completely new. So I said to him, I'm going to play it. All right, I'm going to play it on Radio 1. And then a 3-week argument between me and the Radio 1 managers and even the Radio 1 press office started. They said, you're not playing it, we need to talk about it.
Post 9/11, getting around can be expensive. Cost 12 dead Iraqis for a litre of unleaded. And even Green Cross codes all change. They just teach kids duck around low-flying planes.
And I fought and I fought and I fought. And it's the only time really in the BBC where I kind of went, it gets played or I'm walking. I was there that night. I played it. Channel 4 News were there that night. They filmed it, and the response was unbelievable.
Everybody do the post 9/11 dance. Look scared, shake your ass when the bombs go blast.
The text machine just went crazy. I thought it was going to burn down. Bang, 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 bang. Why are you playing this? This is disgusting. Why are you playing this? This is horrific. This is well out of order, mate. But then it turned. This is actually quite funny. And a whole constituency of British young Muslims who maybe would never have texted Radio 1 said, I've never heard anything like this. And that's the other thing, the person at Radio 1 kept saying, he's playing you, he's doing this to create controversy. And I got a call saying, please don't play it. Look, what else is he gonna do? I don't think he's even that good. And every time I see him win an Oscar, every time I see him release another movie, that voice comes back to me. I don't think he's got a future. I don't think he's any good. Shut up.
Sing a song, sing along, bush your mare in the tree. K-I-L-L-I-N-G. Shave your beard if you're brown, and you best salute the ground. Or do you like Brazilians and shoot your ass down?
I really connected with him this year, so we were both at Glastonbury performing. And then he invited us to watch his show on the stage. So smart when it comes to lyrics. I was literally blown away.
This is England, the bridge we're living in. A kitchery simmering, women in hijabs, syringe pop stars, and the promise of a Patel as a man you star.
And it's like very multicultural crowd. And I was like, it just makes me so proud, that whole feeling and everything. And he came off and I was like, bro, that was sick. I wasn't even expecting that. It was nuts.
And even songs like, I can't remember if it's a whole song or a skit, but Where You From Though?
Yeah,
but where you really from?
Yeah.
Though?
He performed that, yeah, it's amazing.
Huge.
The question seems simple, but the answer's kind of long. I could tell them Wembley, but I don't think that's what they want, and I don't want to tell them more, because anything I say is wrong.
I say we keep it moving, get into 2009. There's two very different types of artists that I think we're all very much proud of in terms of what they've achieved. I want to start with a producer by the name of Naughty Boy. You know, we had a run-in with him back in 2008 when he come into the BBC with Bashing. And Naughty Boy was a lot skinnier back then and a lot hungrier. And one thing he said to me was, bro, I got beats, man, I got beats.
I remember, you know, going to his studio around 2012 and just vibing with him. And he's like, have you ever heard of someone called Sam Smith? I'm like, around that time, Disclosure and all of that was popping off, and I'm like, yeah, of course, man. And he's like, check this out, I've got an Asian sample, tune, check this out, and he just hits play and La 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 comes on. And then we all know where that song took his career.
I think Naughty Boy doesn't get the respect and flowers he deserves for that track. It was a sea change moment for British Asian musicians because he was fully within the rap game, the R&B game, you know, even drum and bass. But once again, he never hid away from his culture.
Yeah.
He's made it okay for Desi artists to be brown, to be proud to be brown, but not to have to always make South Asian music. And for that, he's a hero. And then on top of that, I mean, he's one of the biggest characters I've ever met.
Yeah,
he's a character.
If I lose myself, I lose it all.
Let's move on to another artist in 2009. You hear his music in every shisha lounge. Goes by the name of Imran Khan. Now, although he's not British, the acceptance he got in the UK was amazing. Bambi, what was Imran Khan's first album like for you, Unforgettable?
Unforgettable. It was honestly like, whoa, this is cool. Because I'm really attracted to the mainstream look and vibe and everything. You can see a lot of that inspired his vibe as a whole. And lyrically, just his whole persona, I just think it's very, very cool. And at that time, no one was doing it. So for me, it was like, yeah, this is super sick. I was really vibing with it.
I heard it in a lot of cars. So that's always the measure, you know, for me. So yeah, especially around Lady Pool Road and them ends.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was going off. His other track he had on there, which is Blowing Up, River Far. That was another one which, you know,
Boy Hours.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I think with that, them tracks, you know, he's rinsed many a decade, man.
For me, he took that thing, this is what we all had as British Asians, we're the centre of all the cool Asian music. He took that and he went, no, you're not.
Yeah.
I'm fully Dutch, bruv, and I'm Pakistani.
Around 2010 to 2014, there was this kind of lost phase in British Asian music. But I personally, and Cans probably saw it as well with the Shisha Lounge culture. There was these artists popping up like your Arjuns, Zack Knights were coming up more underground. I like to call them Jay Sean's love child.
Those shisha bar performers, that whole culture of going to a shisha bar and then seeing someone sing actually laid the groundwork for a lot of the stuff that we see today.
But then, if you switch on the television around that time, you would have seen a man like Zayn Malik. And this is another massive, you know, global sensation.
Seeing someone like him being in the biggest boy band in history is just like a phenomenal thing. And also knowing he's part of the Asian community as well. So just seeing that he's reaching heights is amazing.
And I feel like from that era onwards, I like to call them like the medley era, you know, the mashup era.
Yeah.
Special mentions to Dr. Zeus, whose sound is very unique. I feel like his bounce and his productions are crazy. And we all agree that this brother here has done a lot of amazing things for the scene over the last, what we're saying, 7, 8 years. He actually went to school with Cans, you know, early childhood stages, you know, we was all kind of around each other. We've all kind of grown up in East London, but we're talking still Bangles.
I think he's really important. He has managed to step out and say, I produce the beats, I make these beats, I am the man behind these beats. So for me, he is almost as big as a pop artist, you know? Because I want to know what he's doing. Everyone wants to be Steel Bangles. I met him and he was literally like, wait till you see what I got cooking up. He did the track with Jazz Dummy and I was like, how did you make Jazz Dummy sound like that?
Yeah.
You know, an unbelievable tune, all right? How did you manage to do that? Speaking to Jazz, you know, I'm quite close to Jazz. He's like, this guy really knows his Desi music. He loves his Panjabi stuff. And one of the greatest tunes that post, you know, like Mundi and Tabachke, which was a full-on Bhangra tune. It was Bhangra, it was Punjabi, full stop. It was 47. In the grime industry, he's hailed as a king, but for me, he's also a Maharaja for doing what he did with Jazz Dummy and then later on, Sidhu Moose Wala. For that, I'll always give him the ultimate izzat.
I think it's very important to touch on these collaborations with the likes of Mist, Dave,
I don't wanna dead no beef. I don't wanna saw
AJ Tracy.
She smell like East Saint Laurent. My garms are from Italy, I feel like the Don. Paris Fashion Week, I'm
Hitting those artists at the right time.
I mean, prior to all the songs we know of, he was going on for a decade.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was trying to reach out to a lot of people, but a lot of people turned him down. And it's very smart what he's done, where he is his own artist. Like he said, he's not a producer that just produces beats. Like he's got a brand. And I think that's inspiring.
That's a business with it.
Yeah,
so.
I stare on them brothers that be jogging. Sure, I feel them bands look cool.
He's almost like the in-house producer for the entire grime scene in a really weird way. That wave has ridden and taken over the mainstream, and he's on that wave. He's responsible for that wave, and what they've done is basically gone, pop music's dead, but this kind of music, which ain't pop, is the new pop music.
And, you know, having grown up with him and, you know, getting into music together from, you know, borrowing his brother's vinyls, I know the influence that you had on him in the younger days.
I mean, I appreciate that, man. You know, one thing I would say that, you know, like in the bigger picture is that if it's which market are you in, who are you in the ring with, you know, because a lot of artists say, like, you know, like Bobby said, they're not maybe like they don't want to make Indian music, but they're Indians. But then at the end of the day, you can be an Indian. There's a lot of Indian people and Asian people within loads of markets, but they're competing with the people in the market, in the ring with them. You know, so it's like, if you can't just go in and walk in a ring and say, I'm only going to fight Indian people now. You know what I'm trying to say? You know, because if you're in the ring, you're in the ring. Unless you are just only playing kabaddi. So what I'm saying? Then you'll be macca your game, won't you?
Good analogy.
Got a vision of Bobby and Cans playing kabaddi. Thanks, bro.
Yeah. I'm ready, man. Come on, let's make it happen, bro.
One of the collaborations that you've mentioned, Bobby, is Steel Bangles and Sidhu. Yeah. Although not British, that connection with Bangles, I definitely think that's something we all need to talk about.
He's gonna, I honestly believe, in terms of Punjabi music, they'll be talking about him 50, 60 years from now in the same way they used to talk about the Chamkilas and the Bindrakiyas of this world. He may not be the same, but he represents the same energy. A fire starter who came in, angered people, then actually you realised visionary genius. And Sidhu was and will forever be a visionary genius and a poet.
I could recognise straight away the skills that he had. That was totally like another league away from other artists. Technically, whatever, he might be a certain way, but the music, it's all about the music, isn't it? What it's actually saying, you know.
And even after his passing, the likes of Burna Boy, who's the biggest Afrobeat artist right now, talking about they actually had a joint project
and
waiting to release.
And Drake.
Drake as well.
Yeah.
Drake as well. I mean,
he had an impact on big people.
My mum, obviously, in her 70s, wasn't a massive Sidhu Moose Wala fan. She didn't even know who he was. After he died, I came home one night and she was crying and she was watching his videos. And I was like, why are you crying? And she said, oh, because it's on the news. She watches all the Desi channels. She went back and started listening to all his tracks. And obviously my mum's first language is Panjabi. And she said to me, she goes, I can't believe someone can write like this. He was like a Panjabi Shakespeare. That's my mum telling me what's going down, you know? And that's why he's the people's champion, because he can make after he died, his lyrics could make a 70-year-old woman cry. And we know his visual, spiritual, and musical impact hit about 5 generations at the same time.
Looking into the future, you know, we're talking 20 years of Asian Network at 20. You know, I can't believe it's been 20 years. You know, talking about the amount of artists and the amount of sounds that have come out of our culture is something to really be proud of. You know what I'm saying? I mean, looking into the future, so many new artists are coming through as well. I personally like Joy Crooks. I think we're with young artists that are coming through.
And just the whole British Asian rap movement now. You know, we've got guys like JJ Esco.
No, nothing got handed. For these beats, it was budge, I was sampling. Something got branded. Bro, got my back like
Caps.
I've never stopped food and then ran it back. Rubber band pop, I'm on 100 band plus. Send your man shots, see shots, I call the shots to make it hot. Driving with a brick at a pop.
I feel like it's happening now, man.
Do you know what's nice about all these rappers? I think before they wanted acceptance by the non-Desi rap scene. Now they don't care. And that's their strength now. They've dropped thinking, is this guy gonna like me? Will I get played on these kinds of stations? They don't care anymore. And you know, there's a real parallel between original Bhangra artists in the 80s and these rappers right now. They didn't do it for the fame, they just did it because they loved it. And that, you know, can uplift an entire scene. Not caring and just creating is the key to the future.
Definitely, man. It's been a pleasure speaking to the three of you guys. I feel like it's been a journey. It's been real personal, it's been emotional, it's been fun to talk about all of these things. It actually reminded me of, you know, how amazing a lot of the artists are as well, that we kind of sometimes take for granted.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, yeah.
If there's any last words that any of you guys want to say about Asian Network at 20, feel free.
We've got to leave that to Bobby, ain't we? Come on.
Yeah.
Asian Network at 20, yeah. It's basically the station that's recorded, reflected, and totally celebrated our people in this country.
Yeah.
What happens over the next 20 years? I'm no mystic, Meg. I don't think any of us are. But whatever happens, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be very different. And the new gen coming through now, I think this massive technological change in society at large will massively change what it means to be British Asian and the music they make. So the future's with the kids, and I think they're going to kill us all.
It's exciting,
yeah.
actually, yeah, to see what happens.
Yeah, man, big up the kids.
Yeah.
Definitely, we're all for it, man. So there you have it, your boys DJ Limelight Kan D Man, BBC Asian Network, you know how we do.
Don't forget to head over to the iPlayer to check out British Asian comedy with Noreen Khan.
When I saw him as an Asian man saying some of the raw
Wild.
yeah, I was like, can Asians say this? This is crazy.
Clap that, you racist bastards.
And also check out Pop Culture with our boy Haroon.
No one can force me to be a mate or anything, yeah, and I don't want to be mates with you, alright?
See, the thing is, she was sympathetic.
Listen, I don't care if your grandma passed away. I don't
No,
care
she
about
cares.
that.
She does
Oh, she does care.
I'm sorry
she's
to
sorry.
hear.
20 years of Asian Network, man. Here's to another 20. Let's get it.